All right, North Tulsa is a place full of life, challenges, and resilience. Back in 2014, after we lost a close friend, we had an idea to turn tragedy into something positive. That's how this hope was even born. This brother here, he was there from the start, helping lay the foundation. So tonight we're gonna sit down and reflect his journey, his roots, and the experiences that shaped him. Brother Soup, if you can you dive into your story? Tell everyone who you are, where you grew up in North Tulsa, and what your environment was like growing up.
Okay, for those that don't know me, my name is Stephen Jones. A lot of people call me Supa or Soup. It's the nickname that I took on. I'm from North Tulsa, proud North City, and I grew up off of the Natty in a place we call the Deuces. That's right between the North Navy and like Naples in that neighborhood. Grew up with my great grandmother and my mother, like right there on 29th Street. My mom had a house on 28th, and I lived on Deuce 7. I know everybody know what street that is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the area I came up out of. Back then, it was like a lot of community, and everybody knew each other, and everybody was looking out for each other. And the North Side was really the place to be. It was a beautiful place, if you can remember back then.
How did growing up in North Tulsa shape who you became today?
Man, growing up in North Tulsa, man, it teaches you how to be tough. That's one thing. A lot of people think that it's a bad place, but like I said before, it's a place of community where everybody kind of knew each other. But we can't lie and say we didn't go through some tough times. So it taught you how to be tough. It taught you how to be resilient. One thing it taught you how to be was innovative. We always had to come up with some idea to try to, make it to the next day or whatever we needed to do.
Back in 2014, you know what I mean? What motivated you to step up and get involved? You know what I mean? And that's two questions. Go ahead and answer that question first. You know what I mean, what made you step up and get involved when that situation happened?
Well, I remember it's crazy. I remember the situation with 4-3, um, him, tragically getting killed and passing away. I was actually in the hood and like heard kind of like a gunshot or gunshots, and then the homie called me. He was on the street behind that, and he was just telling me what was going on. And I had kind of walked around the corner just to see a bunch of police cars, but at the time I still didn't know what was going on. Fast forward some months later, I actually got you actually got in contact with me. And what's crazy is like we went to middle school together, we went to high school together, we knew of each other, but we weren't locked in like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
knew at that time, like when you contacted me, I was like, it had to be something serious going on because we ain't never really just chopped it up like that. And from there we started linking up, and you was just telling me about the vision and what you wanted to see happening in the community. And I knew kind of like a little bit of your background, but with that being said, I knew you were serious about what you were saying. So it was like we sat down and kind of first came up with the first kind of plans, going like kind of like some Black Panther type things. And from there, we had some other brothers, Chop, Guap.
Mm-hmm.
They was along with us at our very first meeting at the library out north, and just kind of went over plans as far as what we wanted to do. And we all knew, coming from our background, that we had a vision that we wanted the North Side to be like. And if you look at the word community, it's common unity, and that's what we really wanted in all our neighborhoods. So we was just trying to figure out a way how we could make that happen.
And shout out to D Mac too, because D Mac was with us when we first got out. You know what I'm saying? We
You know
first got,
what? You're right. D Mac was with us. Yeah, shout out to D Mac.
but you know what I mean. We did a lot of community work together. You know what I mean? You and I. And at that time, what did the community work mean to you personally?
Personally, I mean, it meant a lot to me at that time. Like, I grew up with my great grandmother, my mother, so it was like I was kind of involved, like a lot of us at an early age in the church, and you could kind of see the little things that they did. And it was times then when we needed help and had to go to certain little things and get assistance too. So it was always good to see people were willing to help you in bad situations without wanting anything. So when the opportunity came along and it was like maybe we can make a positive difference in the community, it was like just get together with some brothers that and just see what happens from there. And I think we pretty much all had that same mindset. It was just, I think, more like of a guidance thing. Didn't know which like what steps to take first to kind of
Mm-hmm.
get everything initiated.
Yeah, we were just freestyling it.
Yeah,
Like you
most
said
definitely
earlier,
was.
we started with the whole Black Power approach. I mean, Black Panther approach, the Black Power approach. Uh, And then, all right, so when you and I were sitting down, we were trying to figure out a name for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We were going through the whole different names. When we came up with the Hope, and then we came up with the abbreviations. Do you remember that process?
Yeah, I do. I remember we went through a lot of different names at first. I can't remember like the names we had came up with, but then when Hope kind of came about, it was like Project Hope, Operation, like certain things like that, and we had to kind of like we had to take trips downtown to go to the land office and find out if names was registered and doing online research because I think we initially wanted to go with Project Hope, but somebody already had that name taken, and then
Mm-hmm.
we ended up coming up with Eyes of Hope. And shout out to Miss Christy Williams because she actually let us use that physical address to file the paperwork. And most people are not going to do that, especially for some people that they don't know. So she definitely helped us with that and just kind of got the name going. But I think it was real important when you looked at the name. Hope is something that we all, we know of since we've been little kids, and it's just something that we try to hang on to, and then to have an organization with that name and then have an acronym for it helping our people elevate. It's like, what more can you do? You really out here trying to help your people get to that next level while you trying to get to that next level as well.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's why I had to bring you on here because I don't want people to think like this was my idea or I came up with it by myself. This is the brother I started this whole transformation with. You know what I'm saying? The whole growth. I'm talking about from the day one to we're gonna discuss later on. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is the brother right here who helped me get to where I'm at. We got involved with the Yoruba culture around that time. How did connecting that culture influence your perspective and the way you approach helping others?
Man, I think connecting with the Yoruba culture was good. Like I said, we didn't really have guidance, and we have to shout out to brother Fahim Austin. At the time, we was meeting with him, and then he was like, he had some people he wanted us to meet, and that's how we kind of hooked up with Chief and met
Mm-hmm.
Simba, Kenya, and their family, and got to learn, more about the motherland and just the Yoruba tribe and how everything worked together. It was like it was really amazing being able to see people that came from your community, just being able to work together, and they all wanted to see like North Tulsa do better. And we started getting introduced to different meetings and like City of Tulsa meetings and things like that, and got to
Mm-hmm.
participate in other things. So it opened up my eyes to like what goes on in the community beyond what I knew. Like I knew there was things going on, but I never had been part of any of that. And just was a good feeling like when you got to go to those meetings and kind of put your input in and find out what was going on and meet other people that had things going on. And it was really cool too to see a bunch of youth out there too. A lot of times you think it's just the older people out there working for the
Mm-hmm.
community, but there was a lot of young people out there too as well. But the Yoruba culture was it was beautiful. Like, met some lifelong friends, people that I can actually consider family. Like whenever I see them, it's a good time. We always get to converse on Facebook. We got the opportunity to go to some events, Bimbays, if I had it correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it was just a good thing. Like they really are into family, which we all should be in. But like you really get to see like everybody uplifting each other. It's like nobody is like you doing more than me or I'm doing more than you. It's just kind of like what can we do? We got to see people really trying to elevate each other.
When you look back, were there any role models or experiences in North Tulsa that inspired you to lead or give back to the community?
Man, yeah, when I look back, I honestly can say there were certain people that I do consider role models. I remember a gentleman, I don't know his first name, but he would visit our school at Burroughs. His name was Mr. Bird, and he would just come pretty much like once a week. He would come to Miss Tisdale's class, and he would just talk to us about the importance of education. He would help us read. He used to call me Dictionary Man because anytime he wanted to know a word, I was like the first one in the dictionary to look it up and try to provide the definition, and he would teach us an understanding. He used to always play tennis at Lacey Park, like every day in the evening. You would see him playing tennis out there every evening, so you could find him there. Another role model, uh, I would say her name is Miss Fannie Mae Gates. I believe she was an author. and she was in North Tulsa. She used to actually come to Burroughs, and she would read stories to us. And I think in elementary, she was like the first person that actually introduced me into me as well as other kids into like the 1921 race massacre at an early age, where we kind of knew about it, but we didn't know exactly what occurred. But she would read to us certain books, and she also had books that she wrote herself. So um, those are definitely influences. And one other, I would always say, honestly, my father.
Yeah.
A lot of times coming from the north side, people don't think that our fathers are in our lives. My father and mother separated at an early age when I was young, but he was always in my life. So I always had that male role model to be there, to provide that structure and discipline. And I got to see my father work hard. Like he's still working to this day. So I still have him as a role model. But having a male role model, especially coming up in the hood, is really important. So I was just thankful that I had my father in my life. Like literally him and my mama stayed blocks away from each other, so I could walk from one end of the hood to the other end, be at any one of their houses at any time.
So yeah, that's yeah. Having a father is most important, and we see that in today's generation as us being fathers. So I'm glad you pointed that out. But even though we end up eventually going our separate paths, what I mean? What do you remember the most about the work that we did together?
Man, work. Oh man, it was a lot of things we got to do. We got the opportunity to work on BC Franklin and Springdale Park.
Hmm.
BC was a special one to me because when I was in high school, after I had my father, I moved with him for a while, and then I ended up moving with my mom to Seminole Hills, right there where BC was. So that was my hangout in the summertime after school. All the kids in the neighborhood, that's where our spot was. Our parents knew where we was. They know it wasn't gonna really be too much trouble. You know how teens was. We did what we did, but it wasn't nothing really bad going on like that at the time. And one day I actually was living in the hood right there on Xanthus, and I was there, and I have it somewhere on recorded the day they I have it on recording the day they tore down BC Franklin. I was there recording when they bulldozed it down. So to be able to work on it and put our input in on as far as the things we wanted to see at the park, and then be able to see those things come into fruitation, it was a beautiful thing. So it's like you feel like that connection. Some other things we got to work on, like I said, Springdale, even though that wasn't necessarily in our neighborhood, it still was a north side park for that area. And a lot of times, uh, kids get into stuff when they don't have things to do. And when you take away parks out of the hood, a lot of times those are like epicenters of the hood where everybody meet, from our parents back in the day to us coming, and hopefully the opportunity for our children to come up in some of these parks. So
Hmm.
it's important to have them. We also participated in some marches. I was one of
Hmm.
those ones that, we see the marches back in the 60s during the civil rights, and then you see marches on TV, and you kind of look at it nonchalant, like, man, them marches, they ain't gonna do nothing. It's just a bunch of people out there yelling at whoopie woo. But being able to have the opportunity to actually, I think we marched on the sheriff's office downtown,
Hmm.
but it
Hmm.
was a certain aura that you felt having that many people down there, knowing that these people had the same feeling that I have towards the justice system and what we're seeing and how we're being treated, and just the power of being down there and actually participating in a march. It kind of made me have a different outlook on things like that. Those are a few things that I really remember participating in. I know during the park time, we were actually going across Tulsa on the city bus,
Hmm.
going to different parks throughout the city, noting the things that they had to see if these were certain amenities that we wanted at our parks. And now we have BC Park and they have Springdale Park, and I just feel now it's our responsibility to take care of the parks to ensure that our children and the kids after them have a place where they can actually come to and play.
With us being a part of, involved in that project like the BC Franklin reconstruction, and also I want to say that was my first time on the news for something positive with me and you. When the news was coming up there, they had the little sign, us holding the sign, and that was big for me. You know what I mean? But what stood out to you the most about that experience?
What stood out to me most was just, I honestly say, the community. To know that there were people that had the same thought process, the same feelings about the north side. Like you had some people that was out there really ride or die, that was at every meeting, No matter what the weather was, no matter what the transportation situation may have been, you had older people out there that were, 60, 70, 80 out there really on feet, pushing every day to attend these meetings and get the word out and try to get everybody involved. So it was kind of like it motivated you to kind of want to do your part and get involved in the community and do what you could do as well.
Yeah, man. Cause I mean, like you say, just seeing. I remember going to those meetings. You know what I'm saying? At Booker T. Washington High School, and just
Yeah,
seeing the people's involvement and their sincerity. You know what I'm saying? And wanting to be rebuild the park, and you know what I mean, just seeing some of those same people in other events. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to dealing with North Tulsa's community, you know what I'm saying? The activism that I see from those people. You know what I mean? Like you say, people that their parents grew up in the community to where they had children. Us, we grew up in that community. Our children grew up in that community. You know what I mean? And you
right.
turn down everything in our community.
And what I will say with that too, there is a misconception. I want the young people to realize the old people, it's not that they don't want us around. They welcome us with open
Mm-hmm.
arms. It's just know how to act.
Mm-hmm.
That's know how to act. Act like you got some values and some morals that you were raised on, but they open the doors for us. They were glad to see us at every meeting, and here it is 10 years later. I still see some of these people out in the street. They may not know my name, but they recognize the face, and it's hey, how you doing? Get some our hugs and go about our day. But yeah, they welcome us with open arms. So don't have any misconception as if they don't want us to be part of revitalizing our community.
All right. From 2014 to 2017, there was a big police brutality. Police, you know what I'm saying? Deon Fothery, Joshua Beret, Jeremy Lake. I mean, I keep Robert. I keep going. You know what I mean? So many. Eric Harris. Just so many. But during those police protests that we were having in Tulsa, you know what I'm saying? Me and you were out here in the streets. You know what I mean? Like you said, we were active in those events at the sheriff's station and all that. But what stood out to you the most from those days? Was it the energy, the people, or the challenges?
Man, that's a good one. If I could honestly say one, I would have to say the challenges. And the reason I say the challenges, you said the energy, the people. One, the people are always there and they always bring the energy, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's a challenge of getting heard. I feel like that's the challenge of us actually being heard and something being done about situations that we face. I mean, every day, honestly, no matter what, when you get up and you walk out your doors, you're gonna face challenges. And coming from the north side, that's when I say, we taught to be resilient. We're taught to be tough. Man, these little challenges that we face, I mean, we used to them, so we know how to work around and we know how to go about our day. But at the same time, it does get tiring. And I think for myself, that was one of the things that made me honestly fall off. Of course, the challenges of life and, children, they getting older, participating in things like that and your own personal things. But I started looking at certain situations as far as like how you said we out here on our feet, we out here really doing the work, and other people, not willing to make these changes. And it kind of made me take a step back, but I had to come to realization that it's not an overnight process. You had people back in the 60s doing the civil rights movement, you know what I mean? And that's 50 years ago, and they were marching and still trying to get change today. So you can't expect it to be an overnight process. And that's where I look at it like you played a major role in keeping the vision going with hope. But yeah, challenges would definitely be the one that I would say. Just so many challenges. Being young, trying to get involved in this, and you really don't know exactly what you're doing. You just know that you want to see change in your community, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like the mentality, like I want to see the change right now. But like I said, you have to realize that change is not gonna come immediately. It takes work.
Yeah, and then even to touch on what you're saying, I mean, like if we look at Sister Viola Fletcher, she's 100 plus. You know what I'm saying, and she's still fighting. You know what I mean. So if she's still fighting, you know what I'm saying. What excuse do we have?
That's it. What excuses do we got?
You know what I mean.
Like I just read an article about her, and I'm like, man, this lady is still out here pushing for justice. And it's like you said, what excuse do we have?
And we from the same place she from.
Man.
you know. But how did those experiences shape your views on justice, activism, and community work today?
Man, I feel like as far as community work, it's still a lot of work to do. During that absence, I mean, you get time to reflect and think and see things from a different point of view and realize like what needs to be done or how you can do it. I think that, like I said, I was away for so long that I got, the opportunity to grow and just see things and like realize like, okay, things weren't gonna happen overnight. You still can put in work, and like, what areas do you really want to put in work? Like, as far as how can you help the community? So I had to realize for me, I had to try to help myself in certain ways because I'm like, you can't be out here pushing for the community. I mean, you can, but I felt like I still had a lot of growth uh, to do and a lot to learn. So yeah.
All right, looking back at or looking at North Tulsa now, what changes do you see, and where do you think there's still work to be done?
Man, there's so much work to be done. I mean, and I just was out north yesterday. I had to go to the dog pound. If anybody don't know where that's at, like the 40s out there off of Lewis, I had to go in that neighborhood, and it was crazy just seeing it because I hadn't been over there in so many years, and it was just like it just made me look like, man, what does the north side really come to? Like the whole, it was, and I don't knock nobody because I'm from the north side, but I'm like, we really have let it go. And
Mhm.
I'm like, it didn't used to look like this. And it just made me feel like, with your question, like, man, there's so much work to do. And that question is one of the big questions is where do we really start? Is it educating the people, cleaning the community? Like, where do we start? Where do we get our boots on the ground? And I ain't talking about no line dance. When they say boots on the ground, I mean, like, what is the plan of action? We out here working, trying to make something happen. So it's like, where do we really begin? And it's like that in my community. Like I said, I came from the area over there at Nathy. So anybody that slide through the natty and see what it's like over there, you know what I mean? It don't look like it did in the 90s or the late 80s when I grew up. When like, I used to go to Nathy's when the actual Nathy's people owned Nathy's, like, Mr. and Mrs. Nathy's, their son Jimmy worked there. People remember that. But, I just wanted to get the community back to what it used to be.
Yeah, man, that's like when I stayed over there off Xanthus by Berry Park. You know what I mean? And just going to McLean Shopping Center back in the day, and
Yeah,
all the businesses were open. You know what
man,
I'm saying?
everything.
Like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you had the liquor store, you had the barber shop. They had Domino's Pizza over there. I think it was
Family
me.
Dollar, Walgreens, Mid K.
Yeah,
You know
we
what I
had
mean?
everything. Northside was really booming then.
Yeah, little dot steppers. I mean, yeah, we had a lot, man. Like you said, where do we start? Because there's so much that needs to be filled. When I rode past and I saw Comanche tore down, and then the homie showed me that they tore the Comanche store down, and
Man,
I'm
I
like,
just yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like we got to fix our community, man. That's
yeah.
a whole other subject, man. Uh, at some point, you know what I mean, you ventured into football. Tell us about that chapter in your life. I mean, the lessons, the discipline, and how it shaped the way you approach life.
Okay. Well, honestly, how it had happened, like the last time I had actually played football was like college. After high school, I got a scholarship, had the opportunity to go play football in Kansas. And that was like the last time I had played. Honestly, once I came back to Tulsa, it was like I really didn't have anything to do. I probably was, working here and there, but it's like you fell to the streets. So just one day, the homie was like, man, we about to go try out for this football team. I ain't had nothing to do. And I was like, I ain't played football like in 11 years. I'm like, I'm just going to go out here and see what happens. How do I do? Not expecting to make the team. So I had the opportunity to make the team. And like you were saying, like how does discipline, things like that from football, how can you like integrate those things in life? Like football is a team sport. Can't no individual go out there and win a game. So with that being said, like going out there in the community, you can't have that mentality. I'm gonna go out here and be able to solve all the problems. It takes you building a great, what I call a championship team, to be able to get out here and tackle these problems that are happening in the community. Um, like I said, working together, that's like you learn teamwork, discipline. Sometimes with football, of course, you can't go your own route or do your own thing. You got to follow what the playbook say,
Hmm.
because that one mistake that you make jeopardize one of your teammates. You might miss a block, get your own boy hit. And those same things apply in the street. Like you have to have a certain discipline to yourself. And I think now that I've gotten older, I'm 40 years old now. I think about me in my early 20s and the things that I did and the time that I wasted. And I said, if I would have been able to take that discipline, like you said, from football and certain things, and take those aspects and apply them into life,
Mm-hmm.
where would I be now? But can't dwell on spoiled milk. But I'm doing all right now.
How did being an athlete influence your mindset, leadership skills, or approach to challenges?
Man, being an athlete, you always gonna be competitive, especially like when you're a young teenager. You always gonna be competitive with the other dudes. Like you always want to be the person that's first. You finally move up on the team. You came from being a freshman, now you're an upperclassman, and you expect had that expected leadership role. Like I know the program, I know how the ins and out goes. I'm gonna be out here and be the leader for the young, show them the things to do right, and things of that nature. With football, I had the ability to get into coaching, and that was just a whole nother story when it comes to leadership, because now I have a group of young men that actually look up to me, and they see the coach's actions. They see your actions at practice, after practice, during the games, after the games, and you constantly asking yourself, what type of leadership do I want to show? So that's a real challenge right there, coaching children, because you always have a certain expectation how you have to carry yourself, showing that leadership, showing patience, showing compassion, and just at any time. I mean, you might can veer off, but you don't want to do that in front of them kids. So that's one, like I said, having real discipline, and it teaches you how to be a leader.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that. Being a husband and a father, how do you balance family life, personal goals, and reflecting on your past experiences?
Man, how I balance. I mean, like anybody else, I would say the best that you can. Being married with my wife, we've been together now for 16 years. We've been married for 11 of those 16. And I mean, you just have to balance is something that you have to have. It's kind of like the yin and the yang in life. You're gonna have your up, you're gonna have the down. That's what create balance. But you have to have a balance. Like a lot of times, like with marriage, one thing you have to realize, like we were here before these kids. So a lot of times people have that mindset, my kids first, my kids first, and nothing is wrong with that. But you have to make time for yourself so that y'all can grow as a couple, because the more that you can grow as a couple, it gives you the ability to, I feel, properly raise your family. Because if they
Hmm.
look at us, we supposed to be their leadership, and we in a messed up situation, not showing them and are instilling good values and morals in them, and what kind of children are you going to be raising? So I think it's important to have that balance in your relationship, spending time with each other, helping each other grow, so that way you can actually grow the family dynamics.
What's the biggest lessons your children have taught you so far?
Man, the biggest lesson my children have taught me so far is patience. I really think I think they were sent here to teach me patience, because patience is something that I may have not had, I didn't have much of, but just being able to deal with them. And now I have an adult child. Of course, she'll be 23 this year, and I have one in high school, an eighth grader, and a third grader. So it's like they spread out all over, and
Hmm.
just having to be able to deal with that many children and different mindsets. Like I say, they teach you patience, but at the end of the day, they really are my motivation to just keep kind of going through life. And I think for many of us, I mean, I speak for myself, I just think for us that our children really are our motivation to keep going out here in this world. Because other than that, I mean, yeah, you have things that you're living for, but what are we really living for? These children, to provide them a better opportunity than what you had.
That part. How has your family influenced the way you view your purpose, growth, or responsibilities?
Again, with family, like that is your purpose. Like at this point in my life, I'm not hanging out with the homies in the street. I'm not in no clubs on the weekends. I literally now I work from home. I'm at home every day. My kids, I'm here when they go get on the bus. I'm here when they get off the bus. Like this is my actual purpose that I live for. So everything that I do, I keep in mind that I'm doing for my family to put us in a better situation. So I feel like for myself, that's what drives me to go hard. I have to go harder because they're my reason. Everybody have to have a reason, in mind right now in my life is my family. That's the most important thing to me. So everything that I do, I feel like is a reflection of them. So if I, I want to be out here doing things the right way. I ain't saying I'm perfect or anything like that, but it's just I'm a changed man. I'm not the young 20-year-old that was running around here in the streets that really didn't care. And yeah, for certain things, I really still don't care for. But you have to really stop and think, and like I said, have patience when you have a family. Like when you out here making decisions and you moving left and right in here, like people say, it's chess, not checkers. So when you making
Mhm.
those moves, you really got to keep your family in your mind because one false move could be the end of everything out here for you. And at no point in time do I want to be away from my family. That's my wife and my children. And then I have my extended family. So
All right, when you look back at your life so far, what are the moments that shaped you the most?
say the moments that shaped me the most was just coming from the north side. That's like going back to the very beginning when I said you had to be tough coming from out north. Like out north was the place to be, and I mean sometimes we got to see some things that we didn't need to see, and you just had to be a tough individual from the neighborhood around you to the school that you went to. You didn't have when I say tough, I don't mean walking around and just being a bully and trying to play tough, but you had to be a tough individual. You had to be innovative, man. It was going to be so many times that we didn't have the things that other people in other communities had, so we had to make the best out of what we did have, or just find ways to make what we had better. So that's one thing. Being resilient, being able to bounce back. And a lot of times we would fall on hard times, but it was about your resilience and you and your family's ability to bounce back. Because I mean, a lot of the struggles that we might be going through now, we got to see our parents go through those same struggles as well, and we got to see them bounce back. We got to see them make a way. So that's like part of the motivation for me being able to make a way for my family is what I seen my parents do. No matter what the situation was, they was always able to provide.
I thought about when you said we didn't have what other communities had. We saw that when we took that bus tour to the different parts. What I mean? When we
Yeah,
got to see
most
the other parts, what I mean? What they had and what we didn't have in our communities.
yeah, and it made you think about it like, man, we don't even just have the basic of things. And I mean, a lot of times people look at it like when, oh, they bring something out north, it's going to get destructed or they going to steal from it and things of that nature. And I mean, truth be told, sometimes, unfortunately, those things do happen. But that's where we as a community, like somewhere down the line, we failed and we fell off track from where we was raised by, and we didn't get to provide that to the next generation. So um, it made me always think about our community. Made me think about the movie Soul Food. If you ever seen it, like you had a real strong family, and then once Big Mama Joe passed away, you noticed that the family kind of
Mm-hmm.
separated and started doing their own things, and that kind of relates to our community as well. A lot of times when Big Mama passed away, a lot of the things that she taught those traditions, we don't carry those traditions on. And I'm gonna say right now, we are like that last generation that holds any of those traditions. And if we don't get it together and we don't share these traditions with our children, then it's really gonna be lost. Everything is gonna be gone. And we see what it's looking like right now, and it's looking dim.
I agree with you because I've been saying it the last few years, especially after losing my mom. Once grandma, big mama, auntie. I mean, once that strong woman that was in the family, once she gone, the family ain't the same no more. And you're right.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, like I said, it's you still family, but you can tell like everybody's subdivided. Like, oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I got my sister over here with her little family, and my brother over
Mm-hmm.
here with his little family, and everybody ain't getting connected like we used to. We literally got kids walking around here in their early 20s that ain't even met some of their other cousins, and like we grew up with our cousins. We was spending the night and doing stuff like that. Like it was like more family. Like everybody was tight and everybody was close, and I feel like as a community, we really got to get back to that. And I feel like the age that we're at, we are the ones that are really responsible for getting us back to where we should be. Like we can't look around for our grandmas and mamas because a lot of them is gone right now, and aunties and uncles to hold these traditions. It's up to us right now to do it, or else it's gonna be lost.
That's why I'm trying to put this family reunion together on my mother's side. 'Cause you literally right. We are becoming the elders. We the grown folks now, and our little cousins. You know what I'm saying? They the 20-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? The little cousins we didn't watch grow up. You know what I mean? They the 20 coming up almost 30-year-olds now. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's our time. But wanted to ask you, being a husband and a father, what lessons has parenthood taught you about responsibility, patience, and leadership?
Being a husband and a father, man, just I would say starting back, I'm one of them ones that had a child early. I had my first child in high school when I was 17. Excuse me. Uh, it taught me responsibility back then because the way my family was, it was kind of like, you out here doing what you're doing to make a child, you're going to be responsible for this child. So it was something that I kind of learned early. I wasn't the best of fathers, but I wasn't the worst. I had a lot of growing in between that time with my first child and my second child.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, with that being said, over the course of that time, I learned a lot of responsibility, how to be a father. Sorry, how to be a family man, how to provide, things like that. Um, what I say earlier, like patience. So I got that, man. Especially like when you have small children, a lot of times you don't get to do the things that you want to do or when you want to do them, and you have to have patience. And for myself, I think that's one thing I pride myself on is having patience and still learning patience. Now I got kids that are teenagers going to high school and coming into high school, and it's like they gonna be kids. We was there too, so it's just like you hope and you pray that the morals, values, and things that you instilled in them, they able to go out here in the everyday world and show.
That's what I want to ask. I'm glad you brought that word up. And I mean, what values do you try to instill in your children, and why are they important to you?
One that I learned when I was early, respect. And that's to hold in high regard, to show honor, courtesy, and consideration for. Mr. Tyrone Wilkerson, he was my teacher, drama teacher at Carver, and may he rest in peace. He taught us in order to get respect, one must give respect, and that starts with self respect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important for my children to see me respecting myself. They see me respecting their mother. That way they know that they're going to approach life with a certain respect. Another thing we teach is integrity. And that's just the ability to do the right things when nobody else is looking. I don't want you just doing something right because you got eyes on you. No matter what the situation is, you should be out here doing what's right regardless. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the values that like we were taught from my parents, grandparents, and if your great grandparents was around, I try to instill those in my children. We talk about them, the things that we went through, the lessons that we learned, and stuff like that. Just going back to trying to keep those things alive with your family. So every day, it's just a few things that I tell my children before they go out the door. Respect others. Treat other people how you want to be treated. I always try to give a willing hand. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Be aware of your surroundings. All those certain things, and I just hope that whatever I teach them, they can go out in the world and they can apply those things, and just pray they come back home safely, and that's it.
How do you define success for yourself, your family, and the path that you're on now?
Oh man, right now I feel like I'm on a good path, but there's still things that I want in life that I can get to, goals that I have to reach. Like right now, me and my wife, we recently purchased our first home. She's going to school. I actually went back to school and got my cybersecurity certificate, so I can work in the cybersecurity field if I choose to. So it's just kind of like putting a lot of goals in place for ourselves, for our family, what we want to see our children see us as, because I feel like if they can see us in a positive light, they can go out there and they can be successful in life too. When you have two successful parents, I always say you never know what your kids don't do, so you can't never say never. But I just hope whatever they see me doing in the positive aspects of life, they try to go out there and do those things as well. Um, I was gonna say. Like with that being said, it's just you really like you want. I want to be successful. My most important thing is just being successful as a husband and then as a father, being a leader of the family. I want to be successful. Just have something going. Whether right now it's working or getting this little business off the ground or things like that. Just being successful in life. Like sometimes a lot of people think success has to be the riches and all of those things. Sometimes success can just be the ability to take care of your family and provide for them every day. That's being successful. A lot of times we take those small things for granted, trying to look at the bigger picture. And ain't nothing wrong
Mhm.
with that. That's what's successful to me, being a successful father and being a successful husband.
What goals keep you motivated?
Goals to keep me motivated, man. Right now, my biggest goal, I'm not gonna say my life is done, but at 40, like I didn't live a lot of my life. My goals are to see my children be in a better position than I was. If you've ever had that talk with your parents, your mom or your dad, and they talked about like doing well in school, so that way you can have a better life. You're not living check to check. Right now, a lot of us we're not living check to check. We live in direct deposit to direct deposit, and I
Hmm.
don't necessarily want that for my children. And I mean, nothing's wrong with that. You're gonna make the best out of your situation and what you can do. But I want my children to be able to have any and everything that they ever wanted. Like, right now, like I said, I'm trying to show them a successful path and hopefully they can reciprocate what I do, whether, they decide to go to college or go to trade school or, whatever you decide to do. You just want to try to lead them down a clear pathway and teach them from the experiences that you experience. I try to keep it real with my kids. I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell them about my life, how it was, the things I experienced, things as far as friends and people from the hood and experiences that I've seen and certain situations that may have happened and what it could have led to, so they can kind of look at that and be like, okay, I don't want to go down that route. But kids, they're gonna have to make their own decision. Just hope that whatever you instilled in them, they can go out there and apply it in life and become successful too.
No, that's real. My last question I want to ask you, brother, is when people hear the name Stephen Super Jones, you know what I'm saying? What's one thing you want them to remember about you?
Man, when it's all said and done, and one day I'm not here and I'm just some energy wherever I may be, I just want people to think back and reflect on my life as I honestly was a person that was respectful to other people. I treated other people like I wanted to be treated. There was some good in me. He did, do for his community. He cared about his community. Really ready to get back out there and put some of these ideas together to see what can happen. But really, that's it. Just those simple, basic things. I don't want to be the most populous person in the town or be known for doing this or that. I just want my name to be in a positive light when somebody pull it up. Like you can't never just throw no shade on my name or say who was out here in the streets doing this or that. Like I'm a person that came from the streets and I know all about them. And yeah, I made changes. I don't shy from it. I don't look down on nobody, man. My community is always gonna be my community. I love them with all my heart. I'm a true North Cityan, you know, North Side till I die. But that's all I
That's
want people to know about me. Like I said, I care about my community. I love all who love me, and I just want to see us get back to what I know we can be, back to how it was when it was like on Greenwood.